console sits there all the time, and you'll see they're both kept charged. Solar panel. Now that battery that's in that centre console has been in there for 2 years. I've never had to take it out and charge it. Bearing in mind how many lights are on there, you can see it flashing out charges. It is waterproof, but what I did run was a bead of silicone around that edge in there just to be absolutely sure. See the blue lights flashing, you see it's charging now, daylight. Good thing about this, once the battery's fully charged, it will stop. It'll stop charging. It's only a trickle charge, but it's more than enough to keep the things charged. But it won't overcharge it. Handy thing. Lights on the front. This handle obviously used to go around this piece here. But what it used to do is often it would hang over onto the lights and dangle. So what I simply did was got 2 things, and there's a weight on there, and you can see that it sits nice and neat rather than hanging down and swinging around like that. Holds that in place. Another thing I'll show you on my handy thing about having the outriggers. Oh yeah, just follow for that. Staying still, guys, is when I strop it, tie it down to my roof rack, just acts as a bit of protection. I've also got a line there for when I'm pulling my anchor up, I can just hook the line through there, and as I'm sat in there, I can just simply pull it up and get it in like, and it just runs through there until you get to the chain. Already seen the paddle that will sit into the box on the sides, but when I'm just paddling around, what I'd often used to do, obviously it's clipped in place, I'd often, I mean, some people like try and push it under the front hatch, I don't like it at all, but I'd find myself, and I'll just often throw it in the water. I think a lot of people just let it float. The handy thing about having these outriggers, as you'll see, I put these on here, that simply sits in there like that, which keeps it nice and neat when I'm moving about. If I want to, if I'm drifting and casting, that just sits there and sits on my outriggers. The one other thing we've got on the other side, I haven't shown you yet, similar to the anchor, there's another one, sits in there, holds my gaff and my net, and you'll see I have a sponge that holds it in place, stops everything rattling while I'm moving, until I'm moving. Obviously once the anchor's out, I can use that, so I can put my net in that side and this in this side. The sponge, again, serves a double purpose. When it's out, just throw it in the water, and it sits in there, just sits in the water, and when you're baiting up, cutting fish, it's a handy thing. You can just wipe your hands with it, drop it back in the water, that's why it's tethered. And then when you're finished or you're not using it, it simply goes back in there. When you're going back home, holds them, stops them falling out, nice and rigid. This also, I could have had a straight tube. This is about that long, it's about that deep, so it goes again to the bottom of the kayak. This little extension on here, it's like a jointer actually for a drain pipe. It just happens to be the perfect size for a Coke can or your drink thing, so I can also, take that out, everything out, and I can put my drinks in there as well. So that holds that. So I think that's just about everything. Anybody got any questions about anything? I shall be doing a separate video on how I did the outriggers. A lot of people have been asking about the outriggers, doing that, so I'll do a separate video on that. It'd be interesting to see what you like. Like I say, not everything's going to work for everybody, but this setup is what I used. I'm just hoping that you'll get some ideas, to use on your own kayak.